Hello, we are the authors of Gone Rogue, and we were just going to do an interview to kind of tell you how Gone Rogue came about, what our books are about, and just to embarrass ourselves as much as humanly possible. So I thought we'd start things out by introducing ourselves. For those of you who don't know, I'm Brooke Blaine, and you may be asking why this motley crew of people? How did Devon get involved with the three of us fabulous women? The answer is that we couldn't get Riley without him. So, don't worry, the restraining order is still in effect. Don't worry, but we're hundreds of miles apart, so we're good. But anyway, I'm Brooke. Take it away.
I don't think we are.
No, I don't think you are either.
I'm
Ella Frank. Hi guys, I'm Ella Frank, and I co-author with the lovely Brooke Blaine, and got roped into this with the other two, and I will let them introduce themselves.
I let you go first.
I'm Riley Hart. I co-write with Devon, but not in this Gone Rogue collection.
I'm Devon McCormack, and I co-write with Riley Hart as well. We didn't write this one together, but we usually write like sexy, steamy.
And we're off to a good start.
Technical glitches already gone.
1 minute in, and Devon's already causing problems.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. Like we're good.
Repeat yourself, please, Devon McCormack.
Where did I stop?
At the beginning.
Sexy, steamy.
What we write.
Yeah. Me and Riley Hart write sexy, steamy romance novels together, but these are not sexy, steamy romances that we have written for Gone Rogue, which was quite an interesting deviation for us.
Interesting. Okay, well, that totally goes into my next thing, which is, what does Gone Rogue mean? I think y'all designated me to say what that is. Okay, well, Gone Rogue.
You made it up.
Yeah.
That is true. Well.
I'm great.
Of course I did. Genius of the group and all.
Anytime now, Brooke.
Okay, sorry. Gone Rogue. So we were trying to come up with something that described the releases that we had coming out, and they're such a deviation from what we normally do. We were trying to think of something that would encompass that, and that's kind of what Gone Rogue means. It just means it's something outside of the norm of what we normally do. And yeah, that's true. So next question. How did Gone Rogue come about? The answer everyone wants to know. How did it come about?
I got this for sure, because I actually, you'll have to let me know if I cut out at some point. But so Ella had messaged me in May. I looked it up, and she wanted to read Clipped. It was a backlist book. It was my first book, and I was planning on re-releasing it, and I mentioned it online for a while, and then she messaged me and read it, and she liked it, and she messaged me about that, and then I forget what month it was, but she reached out and was like, "Are you still re-releasing your book in October?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, that's an interesting question. She's already read it. But whatever.
I want to read it again. I need proof for therapy.
Maybe a month or another month, or at least a few weeks went by before we were all messaging together. And I think Brooke is the one who mentioned the idea of potentially doing them simultaneously, trying to do them all. Since y'all were doing something they were talking about.
Well, the three of you guys, yeah.
And and so initially it was and as we were talking, and they were kind of saying because we're doing this very dark, very different. It's not a romance, and I was like, oh, that works really well with what I'm doing. And then I was also thinking, well, Riley is also doing this kind of without them knowing, and she just kind of happened to be simultaneously working on her own thing that she was like, oh, it's not anything like what I do normally. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it. And I was like, let me run this by her too and see what happens. And then I talked to her, and I guess the rest, I am curious though from y'all's end, Brooke and Ella, how it came about.
Well, for memory, for us, I remember when we got together and we were talking about Shiver and going into it, we knew that you were Devon was going to go ahead and do Clipped in October, and we were like, well, we're kind of releasing in October too, and so we don't, go on top of each other. Though Devon, we don't know if you like
We
that
don't
or
like
not. We decided we were like, we decided that
look at the charts very first.
we decided we would just reach out and see if you wanted to do some sort of cross promo or spread the joy to the world that way. And then when you said Riley was doing one, it just sort of all fell together. It felt very meant to be. It was fate.
I feel like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, we
what
were
a
all
thought,
just like,
really.
it was so strange. We were all working on
something a little different
in the same time frame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was very...
Well, it was especially because Ella and I are never together, and we just thought it would be so much fun to actually, we're going to be at Shameless Book Con, and you guys are going to be at GRL the same exact week, same exact weekend, and we wanted to publish together. But that was the same week that we knew Devon was going to publish, so it was like, we can't not tell him and just give him a heads up,
Right.
So
it was actually a warning. You were
It
actually intended to be like,
warning.
we're gonna fuck you up.
Shut up!
It's like a bitch. Watch out!
Like,
You better watch
we're
yourself.
coming for you. Like I would have bet. Like
This is
I wouldn't even have bet.
Oh, I love everybody. Look how he froze.
I love it when he
See,
like,
he got to
crazy.
freeze because this is
Oh,
all full
I
of
think
crap.
I'm frozen.
You're back.
Your bag.
I was gonna show you guys. Nobody else has seen these yet, and I was gonna show you. These are what we're gonna have at. If I can get them open.
No, she can't.
And SBC. Naked photos of Devon. Woo! These are
They go for
Mine
$2.
came in the mail too.
Oh, love it.
Hey, they look
Very
fabulous. So
nice.
we'll have these at our
Fabulous.
table, find them and stuff.
Yes.
Whole bunch of those. Okay, so next question. Each person, if you want to go around and say what the title of the book is that you wrote, kind of like what genre it is it a standalone, a series? Just give us a quick little why the hell we should buy your book. Go, Ella.
Okay. So Brooke and mine is Shiver. It is going to be a stalker lust story. It is definitely not a romance. It is on the darker, twisty side. And if you like men that follow you in the dark, I would recommend picking it up. No, it's Devon's like, where is it?
I'm sure you're following people in the dark, Devon.
So that is ours, and it was lots of fun to write. Lots of fun.
Yeah. Lots of fun.
Well, mine is Jared's Evolution, and it's erotic, BDSM, daddy kink, and I really had a lot of fun writing it.
A lot of fun? How
A lot of fun.
Yes, you did, you naughty girl.
Maybe a little too much, though.
Minx.
All right, Devon, what'd you do?
Yes, I did I always pitch it as a gay, erotic, paranormal adventure. Because I just want to add on subcategories to the end of it. And it's a twist on God and Satan, where God is actually the bad guy, and Satan is kind of saving mankind, and they're ex-boyfriends. And the whole fall of mankind is actually just really petty breakup drama. And so,
I love it. It's like a soap opera in the Bible.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess on that note, we'll start with you since your book hit first. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're the best.
Like we drew straws, basically. So we're going to talk about Clipped first. So Riley has the first question.
Clipped has been part of your life for a long time. What does it feel like to get the story back into the world again?
Yeah, it's been a part of my life for 4 years now. And It's really nice because I wrote the first two books when I was starting out, and then I kind of deviated just because I was working on other projects. I did more erotica. I did some young adult. I started doing romance, and I kind of left it just kind of. I really liked the characters. I loved the story, but I was like, just wasn't ready for the end of it yet. And so then when I like about maybe 6 months ago or something, I was like, I think I'm ready. Like everything just felt like it was time, and so I was like, let's do this. And I'm really excited about it because it's characters people always really liked when I started out, and in a way that is very different than they like my characters now. So I think it'll be interesting to see kind of maybe get some new readers that are interested in something a little different. So
No.
Very good. No, apparently, yeah, no new readers for you. Sorry. Well, I will go on as saying that I was one of those people who shamelessly was like, "Hey, Devon, give me a copy." And I was lucky enough that he said, "Okay," and he said, "Good luck." But
caveat that I put on that,
you did,
which is just a joke at the time.
Although you did seem very worried. You were like, "This is the first one. Good luck.
Oh.
She's never going to talk to me again."
Oh yeah. I was like, she's never gonna talk to me again. I was like, Riley, I hope you're not like buddies with Ella. She's not gonna talk to us again.
He tells me not to read it.
No, you should read it. It's good.
I'm going
it's
to.
Really
I told him
good.
I'm going to.
Okay, so here's my question for you when you unfreeze, because you're always being such a diva. Are you ready? Are you ready over there? Yes? Okay. So, oh, there he is.
Am I there? Okay.
Yes.
I heard you, so you can just keep going.
Okay, so how did you come up with the idea to flip the characters, God and Satan, on their ass? And for those of you who don't know what I mean, maybe you could tell us a little more, even though you did kind of just tell us how you came up with the story.
Oh.
Whoa.
What happened?
Oh, we're back.
Well, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
Yep.
Ish.
Yeah, we are.
Ish. So the flip of God and Satan.
Yeah.
I was reading Mark Twain's Letters from the Earth, which is Satan writing to heaven about how weird it is how mortals think about heaven, and like it's kind of talking about like, oh, they think like it's really boring, and it's like, no, it's like a party every day. And I thought it was very interesting because I'd never really thought about kind of casting Satan in a different light. And I was like, just kind of reading, I was like, what if like they were like ex-boyfriends or something? And like it was all just this like petty tips that kind of led to these like apocalyptic repercussions, and angel and demons are like these petty children of theirs that kind of are so entitled because they've been spoiled for eons, and now they're having to like go to war and like kill each other. And, like, yeah, and so I just I had a dream shortly after about an angel from the story and another character. And I was like, and after that, I was like, oh, I have to write that. And it was also like, just I kind of threw out all the rules that I had for writing with it. I was just like, let's just do whatever. And I didn't think I would even do anything with it. But I was like, it can just be wild. And I remember the first person that I pitched it to, I didn't know much about the MM genre at the time. But I remember she did say, MM is primarily made up of women who are in more conservative parts of the country who would not appreciate blasphemy in their romance novels. And I was like, I don't, which is funny because in the beginning, it was primarily women who were like the biggest champions of it. So
really?
like,
it's such a great ride. It's out there, but it's good. Yeah. Pick it up, everyone. You got to go pick it up. Experience it yourself. Go for it.
Now, all this talk kind of makes me curious, so I might actually pick it up. I mean, I'm a little nervous, but, I might actually pick it up. I don't want to, like, support you or anything, so, of course, I'm going to steal it online for free. But, okay, since I can, I have several questions for you. Ready? Okay. You're sweating. Bless your heart. Okay. So, first, what do you hope people get out of reading this demented book of yours? Second, who is your favorite character in Clipped and why? I'm guessing Satan because hello, like you. And then when the hell can we expect books 2 and 3 in the series, just so we know how to, when to get the bonfire ready?
This is a lot. My mind doesn't work like this. So I hope that people just have a fun ride on reading it. Like it really, I just wanted people to be entertained and to just kind of let go and just kind of go, like, see what it's kind of like. I kind of describe it sometimes as like a weird trip. Like you're high and you're like, what's happening? Why is
like you get
this
to the end of it and you go, what the hell did I just read?
I think that's going to describe Gone Rogue in general. Everybody's going to get to the end of these books and say, what was that? What have you guys done?
What did you do? What did you do? Exactly. My favorite character is probably Kinzer, which is the main character, because I feel like where I was at as an author was kind of where I positioned him at the beginning of the book. And it kind of is nice being able to do this 4 years later with where I'm at as an author now as the closure of the series, because I feel like we've kind of been on this journey together. Like it's his kind of quest to save humanity. And he's kind of like down on his luck at the beginning and he's like, can't get a break for anything. And then, he just kind of turn off emotion and like craziness into every catastrophe. It's nice.
It's nice for you.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just like the last line just sort of like, and then...
Well, what's the last one was, okay, when can we expect the two? I plan on having them all out by December, so end of December. And then, what is it? Oh, you just want to know
the overload, y'all.
I know, right?
Just in time for winter, Brooke. The bonfire. Get ready.
Yes! I'm so excited.
The last one is going to be pretty thick and girthy, so you could just throw that right on.
Of course it is.
Make sure to sign a copy or 20 for me for the fire.
20. Who needs that money? Not me. Send it to Brooke.
I
think
I'm up. I'm just curious which character is based on you and which one's based on the boyfriend.
Be careful, I've read this. I don't need to know too much about you.
The reason she's asking that is because we get this question a lot, and I get it in my books, and we both get it in our collabs, and we always find it very interesting because we don't really write the same thing anytime. But for some reason, people always think surely since I'm a guy, one must be based on me. But
cute joke.
Yeah, I would say so. There is a guy that has a really big dick in mine, like a. It's not
foresee this. Why did
I use this? Never mind.
Delete.
And that's probably based on my boyfriend.
That would have to be what?
Oh.
Thank you.
Moving on. Let's talk about...
Y'all asked, I answered. You're welcome.
Jared's evolution. Let's
Jared's evolution. Let's go, Devon.
Yes.
Take it away.
Oh yes. I was like, I know what this question is. I wrote it. I know you've had Jared's evolution in the works for some time, and your issue wasn't if or when you were going to write it, but how you were going to release it. And I find it very interesting because you had several projects that you could have worked on. You could have worked on your sequel to Last Chance. You have another book in the Wildside series. You have two very pesky co-authors who are like, we need a book together. So, what made you decide that now was the time for that book?
Well, like you said, it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've learned through the years that you have to follow your muse. And had I not, books like Broken Pieces never would have came out. But I was scared. And I don't know why, but I just, the story would not leave me alone. And I'm really, really passionate about these characters, and I'm really, really passionate about their story and their evolution. And I just decided, there's never really a right time to do something different. You just have to make the time and do it. And so
there we
go.
It's good to do it with people around you to hold your hand.
Because when I was writing them, I wasn't sure when I was going to release them. And then I heard about this. I'm like, yes, no, I'm not alone. Score.
Exactly. So basically, Gone Rogue is we all banded together and we're holding each other's hands because it's just so different. And we're like, well, hopefully we won't all bond together.
I mean, it is scary because it's not, I mean, especially like it's not anything we've definitely done recently.
No.
And so I think there is this sense of like, I mean, you get to kind of chat with each other about it. We get to kind of like working up to it. We got to kind of conspire and come up with ideas.
Yeah.
And you don't get that a lot. Writing is, you don't,
solid.
I mean, y'all. Yeah, well, except for y'all.
Wow.
but you know what I mean. Like there is those times where it's very before you release, it's just you. And this was very nice because it doesn't feel like even going first and being a little terrified about that. No, it doesn't.
That's
feel
why
like
we made you go first.
Yeah.
I know, right?
We're like, make him go first.
Devin can go first. Go.
Exactly.
Push him out of the nest first.
Of course I'll go first.
Exactly. All right. So, Riley, Jared's Evolution launches your Desires Unleashed collection. Ooh la la. Now, you usually write series books, but this Gone Rogue book kicks off a collection of novellas. So, what about this story makes you feel like that format worked better for your guys than full-length novels?
It's strange because that's really kind of how it came about to me, in the same way I guess Broken Pieces did. But it was very much they feel like different parts of their life and their relationship in a way. So I felt like it wouldn't make sense to go all in one book. So I broke them up in sections, like what each one is about, kind of. The first one is the awakening, which is Jared, realizing this part of himself and discovering who he is and what he wants, despite his fear. And then the second part is the first book, Jared's Evolution, is the acceptance, where he has accepted it and now he's going to move forward with this lifestyle. So it very much felt like kind of different stories in different parts of their life. So it made sense to me to break it up that way, but and then release them in 2 parts.
I love it. I love how you've branded it with the whip and the collar.
Yes.
I'm a little bit jealous about that.
Oh, I was so jealous.
I know.
I was like, oh,
that's
brilliant.
perfectly.
Make sure if you haven't seen the full cover to look at the full cover.
So
Don't just look at the ebook cover.
Yeah.
Look at the full cover. It's super naughty. I love it. I love it.
I like how I've got this question. Miss Riley, what prompted you to go in this Gone Rogue direction? You usually write sweet and sexy romances, so what influenced your decision to delve into the BDSM daddy play world? It was Devin, wasn't it?
No. We know Riley's the naughty one in this.
I was just about to say, everyone thinks that, but I think I'm a little more naughty than he is.
Well,
with certain things. Well, in writing, yeah.
Oh, you mean in writing, yeah. But no, in real life, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Definitely naughtier.
Do we need to, have a timeout so you can discuss this?
No.
Who's the naughtiest in the books? Who's the naughtiest in real life? Is it the same person?
No, it's him. I'm the good one.
Sorry.
No,
I say nothing.
I'm super fascinated with BDSM, honestly. It really interests me. I've read a lot about it and done a lot of research, and I think it's hot. And so I mean, and even not even just the sex aspect of it, but the mental and the emotional connection. I really just wanted to explore that on a deeper level.
That's great.
Very good.
I think it's hot too.
I have the last one. I do want to make a comment before I ask this question because it usually is me when we're writing. we're coming up to like something that might be a little on the fence about if people are going to like it. And I'm the first one I just say no. I just go, no, we're not doing it. It's not worth the risk. Like,
Right.
let's not. And then we creep up to it. And I can tell in like Riley's chapter that she's still leaning towards whatever. I've been like, nope, it's over. Give it. And then she's like,
Too bad. Doing it
And
I
then,
anyway.
bet all the readers are shocked right now. They're like, no.
I-
He is
I
more
say-
typically.
and I go like, no. And then I finally, I'll concede after like once we get to it, then I'm like, and it needs to happen. I'm like, I'm all in. But
Riley's
mean,
like, I just make sure
Literally.
it needs to happen. I'll just
No, exactly.
take you that way,
Exactly.
whether you want it or not.
He's
I
like,
keep, even when he cuts it off, I'll like keep bringing us
Oh,
back.
yeah. And then, like, go back and rewrite that part so that it's still like we need it to be. But so my question is, does this mean we can write more naughty books together?
I've been waiting for that. So, yeah.
She's like, anytime now, Devon, when you become brave.
I don't even know what the fuck we'd write. We'd have to think of something really. I mean,
Wait. You're trying to tell me that you're afraid to write naughty books. Have you seen your Facebook statuses?
Right? When this morning I was like,
written some very excuse me, I've written some very naughty books. Cheating Bastard, Lying Bastard, go one click them now.
promo, shameless promo.
Shameless.
Rolling our eyes.
But no,
I think he's also more careful.
I'm
with
always
me.
I wouldn't want her to be uncomfortable.
That's what I was to say. I think you're always more careful with me because I don't know.
I'm like, I can ruin my own career. I don't give a shit. But I'm like, I'm not gonna drag her down. Like,
He's like, I don't want to ruin Riley. God.
no, I'm
The
like,
person who ruined Riley Hart.
You.
that's the only thing
So
someone like to do. So.
I do have another question that's not on here for you, but when can we expect the next in the Desires Unleashed series?
My plan is within a month from the first.
Oh,
Ooh.
very
So
good.
November sometime. Yeah.
Do you anticipate the entire set being out by December? Or
Well, for Jared, it's just going to be 2 books. So the
okay.
first one, and then I plan to do more in the Desires Unleashed, but they won't be Jared and Karen's book. They'll be others. That's my
They're
naughty
key.
line. That's my kinky line.
I love it. That's so
Bring it on.
good job.
Well, I just wanted to make sure people knew what they were getting into too before they picked them.
I'm pretty sure that everyone's going to have that collection on their Kindle.
Naughtier the better.
Like, look at that collar and leash. Like, yes, please.
Oh, and do you see?
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
She's bringing it.
No, I bought that for this. Okay, Ella and Brooke. I've read Shiver and I absolutely loved it. You guys blew my mind. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came about, the story idea?
Would you like to start or would you like?
Go for it. You go for it.
Well, okay, so we were set to write our solo books, actually, which is how it always happens. We're ready to write like our own book and blah blah blah, and then we start talking, and I really wanted to write something dark and twisty, and it was in my head, and I had a specific idea, and that didn't work. So I was like, Brooke, and then we started powwowing about all the different kinds of stories and sort of I guess books that we've read in the past that we loved, and things that we just think we would love to write about. And we were like, what if we did this stalker guy? And we sat down and we were like, yeah, why not? Why don't we try it? He could be fun.
And I will say also, so she's been talking about wanting to write a book based on the song Hazard by Richard Marx. She's been talking about this for years.
I love that
For
song.
years, she's wanted to write something based on that song. So, like, this book is such a mishmash of different songs and different books and movies.
It actually has a playlist.
It does. It has a really amazing playlist that she put together. But so we did that, and then also we had a couple of our close friends who have kind of been asking for a stalker book, and we're just like,
is it weird?
No, we're never going to do that. Why would we do that? But then, you know, a stalker that kind of is on the border of, is he hot? Is he creepy? Like, we wanted to play that line, and we weren't sure how far to take it, but we think we did okay. So that's how it came out.
You did. It was good.
No, I love that. I love that. I love it always can feel like that sometimes, especially like in a romance or erotica that isn't necessarily done well. You could be like, oh, he's just a stalker. He's not actually like a love interest, which I think makes this like appealing in the sense of it's a kind of exploring that territory of like, no, what is actually like, what is the problem with this, or what is good about it?
It was also like, what would you do in that situation if this person inserted himself into your life and became everything you wanted, and you were just so besotted with him, but then he turned out to be not the nicest person on the planet? Like, how do you end up switching that part off?
I would suck his dick. I would lick his balls. I would do whatever the fuck he wanted me to do.
Thank you, Devon.
Because he's going to take care of me. Like, what is this? Y'all have no survival instinct? I don't understand. Okay.
This is why you didn't write the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would have been a completely different book.
Like, why isn't he sucking his dick right now? I don't understand.
What is? Oh, look, and he froze. Of course he froze.
I'm sure you guys have talked about this before. You know,
You're unfrozen now.
We're good.
You're good.
Am I here? Am I here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I have my question. I'm sure you guys have talked about this before, but your co-writing process kind of blows my mind, like legit. And so, especially something like Shiver, I'm curious, can you explain how you wrote it together, which is like any book, I'm sure, but then also how much of the book, this particular book, did you have mapped out versus discovering it as y'all went along together?
Oh, God.
You can start that
one. Okay. So when we write a book together, we get into Google Doc and we can see each other write. We're Skyping and we usually have a pretty good outline of like what's going to happen in the chapter. And we just, you guys are freaking out about that because you're like, no, I don't want
Skype. Like, it stresses me out just hearing it.
Yeah, but it just works for us. Like, we have very different styles, but for some reason, we can kind of read each other's minds as far as I know sometimes what she's going to write before she finishes the thought. So, and we can yell out ideas, you know, or no, not in that direction, or, oh, what if we said this? So that's normally the way that we write. We don't ever take characters or anything like that. But I will say this one was really different for us because we did do that. And we had it mapped out kind of what was going to happen. But at the beginning, we didn't know how to we were kind of playing it a little bit safe. Like, how far do we need to go? And then we asked the friends who wanted the stalker, were like, you know, how much do you want of this?
Like, we can either take it really dark.
Do it a romance, or did we want to do like take it a little bit darker and maybe walk that line? And they said go for it, and we're like, oh, you said go for it. So from that point on, we kind of back and revised a little bit. And then as far as the characters, this one was different because normally we have equal ownership of sorry, I have like you on the screen here and you on the screen. I have equal ownership of our characters, but with this one, they're so extremely different that we sort of had to pick a side. So I felt like one of us was more of an authority on one of them, and one we kind of deferred to each other as far as characters. So we didn't exclusively write one each, but we definitely picked sides on this one. We won't. I mean, it may be obvious
to people, but it was definitely easier for this to have a voice for both, so we could just specifically think about those people because they were so different, completely
So
different, and they had
one
to play
is
off each
so
other.
innocent. Yeah, one is so innocent. One is just so deviant, and it was getting too mishmashed when we would both try to get in there.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about which one of you is deep
Now
and
she's
which one
thinking.
you're so innocent.
You don't know, Riley. Don't act like you know.
What are you talking about? So that's what came about. But we always map it out, like always map out our chapter.
We had this one. We had a very extensive plot. I don't tend to plot out stories, but this one had such a specific line and what had to happen and for it to be believable that we knew exactly where we were going. We finished this book like we were just obsessed with it. So it just kind of just came out, which was fantastic. So it's always a good way to write it.
I think that is a similarity. I think we all were obsessed with these projects. So, like, even talking to it, because we've all been going back and forth as we've been working on these, and you can just feel that it just was this fixation that we just turned into an obsession, and we all just it really was. We were all compelled to do it. So
we're all just so excited about it. It's nice to be able to talk about it, but it's frustrating because, we're used to sharing with our reader groups, like what we're working on. And that's been so hard. Like we can't say anything.
Been the hardest part for me.
Anything.
Like right now, we have our covers. We can't do like we want to share them.
None of you.
We want to PM a friend that doesn't know. Just like, look at my cover. Like I need someone to see this.
I'm so grateful that we're doing this Gone Rogue thing because we've been dying. We're like, who can we tell? I'm like calling my mom. Not that she's ever going to read it. She's like, that's a little extreme, but I mean, people who get it. But yeah, it's been hard because our readers are going to just freak out, and we're so ready. We're just so ready for them to read it because I know we all love our story so much. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Shiver is different from anything I've read from either of you. Were you scared to write it? If so, what pushed you past that fear?
No, I don't think we were scared to write it. In the past, I've written a couple of books myself that are darker and not traditionally happy. And I love twisty stories. I love twisty, tales that sort of delve into a side of yourself that you don't always look at. Like, I love to write the sexy romances and the sweet ones, but I really do like to get into that side of my head that I probably shouldn't get into. And explore it a little
scary
more.
In there.
It is scary in there. But, every now and then I get that, or I'll hear a song. Like, I always say to Brooke, I love to listen to lyrics in songs. And the minute I hear, story ideas, that's where I get my plot buddies from all the time. I'll hear a song, I'll be like Hazard. I'll be like, I'm going to write a book about that one day. And I wasn't scared. It was just finding, for Brooke and I with this one, it really was deciding if we wanted to make it a romance or if we wanted to make it not a romance. And once we decided to go the way we went, it was on. It was like, we got this. We know exactly where we're going, and that's it. So we weren't scared after that. We were like, this is awesome.
Every single day we woke up excited to write it, and every single day we'd end the day with, we are freaking awesome. This is the best stuff ever.
This is so much fun.
So maybe that's just
liberating. Maybe it's liberating
no, I think it's really liberating for sure. I felt that while I was writing too.
And at the same time, I think our readers kind of expect the unexpected a little bit, So, so I mean,
well, we hope you're all watching this, and we're hoping you expected the unexpected.
I know, right?
You guys are probably cursing at your screen right now, to just seriously go there? Are there going to be sequels? Or are there going to be no?
The answer is no. Just so you know. Stand alone.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Devon.
Yeah,
this one you kind of already answered with but we will go ahead and like go over it real quick. Like Brooke, can you wrap it up? Can you wrap it up, Brooke? Just you both are known for some serious like pre-promotional work before releases, like cover reveals, incessant teasing. What has it been like stepping out of the norm?
Hey, Devon. Continue. She caught it.
Stepping outside the norm and approaching it totally different, like this.
I love surprises, good surprises. I love them. It's like my favorite thing. I love surprises. And so for this one, we just really wanted to do something together where we could hit publish together when we're in Orlando and be like, surprise. That's kind of what we wanted. And especially, I don't know, with this one, just because it'd be a little bit hard to kind of tease this one, you know, because you don't want to give anything away.
That's true. I will say that, you know, it's really difficult for me. I like to talk about stuff, obviously.
She likes to tease all the time.
Up.
Is that what she likes?
But no, I think you just like using that word. Is that like your word of the day on the computer screen?
I Googled it this morning. Yeah. I was very proud of myself for putting it in.
I don't like sitting on books. Like once I'm done with a book, I hate sitting on it. And I will say, actually, the last book I had to sit on, I was like, is it time already? Is it time already?
It complained the whole time.
I did.
Yes,
I was like,
she did.
It's hard.
It is.
Riley, you're still sitting on a book right now. I know for a fact.
Well,
like,
that's different.
That's
different.
Hang on a minute.
Shop it around. Like,
who's teasing now? It's not me. Riley's apparently got a book, everyone.
I've had it for like a year finished, so it'll be a while.
Oh my gosh, it's been that long?
Edited, cover, everything, yeah. But anyways, we lost Devon. No, he's back.
I'm back. I'm like gone for a second.
We tried to get rid of him, but
didn't work.
I actually teleport to another dimension and then I return. So like, but I'm busy in the time that I like. It's like days there, and then I come back, and I don't realize the time has passed here.
He's always weird, you guys. Always.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I'm going to wrap this up with some general group questions. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anybody can answer. All right. So what are you most proud of when it comes to writing your book?
I have an answer to that one. I think that I'm proud of the fact that I didn't hold myself back at all when it came to this, and because it is so different, and the BDSM elements and all that I went there. Whatever I wanted to do, I did, even if it's something that traditional romance readers might not be very happy with. I mean, because it's true. It was true to their story. I'm proud of the fact that I stayed true to their story.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't. It's just, you know, that part means the most to me, I think.
Aw, good answer. Good answer.
That is a great answer.
Thank you.
What are you most proud of, Devon? Come on.
It's the same thing. Like this one, I've had it in my mind for so long. I had it outlined. And there are some crazy things that happen in it. But I think that it's actually, I think in some ways it was easier for me since the first and second had already been out there, that I knew that it sort of sets the bar at a certain place. And then I'm like, I can do whatever the fuck I want to. It was the third book I was writing, so I was like, they won't be surprised by anything.
Anything.
So I was like, more tentacles.
And we just lost everybody.
Trying to sell the book, Devon.
If they made it far in the interview, like I hope they're AU pages so they can't return it.
What are you most proud of, Ms. Brooke?
Yes.
I'm always proud of anything that we write together. I don't know. I'm proud of fucking everything.
I have to say,
honestly, I'm proud that we can all like come together and not kill each other.
yeah.
And no,
Sure for that.
And not kill that.
they're not out yet. No. I'm proud because I think, especially with the way that sometimes certain books that we write end, I like that we always stay true, like Riley said, we stay true to our characters, into the book, into the story, and
I have one. I'm proud of the fact that we're all very original and we come up with great concepts and we're always giving our readers something new to sink their teeth into. And I think that it's really important to be giving amazing stories that are outside of the box. And I think that all of us did that with this, and I'm super proud of that. And I think that we should continue to do that.
I think
Hell
that's
yeah!
so exciting to work together.
Sorry, what was that?
When we talked, it felt very like natural to work together because it was like we were all just randomly doing the same type of thing, and it was like we all had these stories that were just like itching at our conscience, and we wrote them, and then we're like, let's do it.
Agreed.
So it's very
right.
nice.
Agreed.
Love it.
Okay, what was the most difficult part of writing your novel? Anybody?
I'll take it real quick for us if you want, or from me, from my point of view, was deciding which direction we wanted to go in. Once we decided that, it was on like Donkey Kong. But before that, we were kind of like, and then we were like, up, there it is.
Yep.
So, yep, that was it for us. Nope, he froze.
Mine's paranormal, and it's a trilogy, and so I had to go back and read these books. Am I frozen?
Start again.
You're back
Just
now.
start again.
You're
It was
back
just
now.
funny.
Is it that bad? What's my
No, you're
website?
back. You're fine. Just
What
go.
did you screenshot it? Is somebody gonna
Rewind.
screenshot it?
Wait, I gotta give myself.
He's trying to be serious, the poor guy.
I'm sorry.
What was I saying?
What do you? What was Mr.
What's the question? Oh, the hardest part. I think. No, the hardest part was the research of like the first two books, because it's been 4 years, and so I had to go back and I couldn't remember like all the names and all the backstories, and I had to like pull because I was stupid, so I didn't make any sort of story Bible out of it, and so I'm sitting here like I'm like, what like organization does he work for? Whose side is he on? Like I couldn't quite get all of it right away, so I have to pull from them, and then I kind of have to go through the prose where I'm like, holy shit, what was I thinking when I wrote that?
Just so you know, I'm going to go through and make sure that your timeline matches up and everything is correct. So no pressure.
Yeah. Bring it. Like, I'm so ready for that. You have no idea.
That's funny.
Finally.
Oh, I think for me it was just delving into how kinky and how far to take some of that stuff. But once I decided on that, I was good to go.
Apparently it was
I didn't
all the way. Okay, so general question from me. What was the most fun part of stepping away from your usual path and going rogue?
I think we've kind of sort of answered that. We like to do things that are different. I think you guys like to do things that are different. So it's fun to just never... I like that earlier this week I asked readers, like, what do you think of a Brooke Blaine book? And some of them said that they never knew what to expect sometimes, like besides the funny or whatever, which always funny. Sometimes funny. I try, no. I like that they know that it's just anything goes. So, how about you guys?
Can y'all? Am I here?
You're here.
You're here, yeah.
You are here.
I just want to make sure I'm gonna do something ridiculous and it's gonna freeze. So, mine was just like the story itself, and like knowing because I was finishing the book 3 when we'd all decided to do this, and kind of just knowing like that it was kind of in with something, like we were all kind of in this together, working on our stuff and bringing them about. That's kind of nice. It made it feel a little like I said, it's very isolating when you're writing like a book by yourself. So it's nice when you kind of feel like you're not totally alone in it.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think for me, obviously that and doing it with you guys, but also not limiting myself, and I think exploring a relationship or different aspects on a deeper level than I think sometimes you can do, in a typical romance novel. That's how I felt I worked with this one, at least.
My question,
Yes.
talking to all of you about your Gone Rogue book, I can tell you had a lot of fun running wild with these characters. What was an aspect of a character you enjoyed exploring that you haven't explored in the past?
I liked.
You take that one.
I liked the fucked up aspect. I just thought he was a bad fucker. He was just so. I kind of like just some of the things that come out of his mouth, and some of the things he does are just like,
Yeah.
oh, I like this guy.
No, even sometimes when I read it, I'm like, God, this is hot, but it really shouldn't be. Like, I know that I shouldn't be.
I shouldn't like him, but I do, and that's the
Exactly.
thing. Like,
I think for me, it was at the beginning when he's following him in the alley, and he kicks over the trash can to scare the guy, and it's like when he kicks over the trash can, you're like, oh, this dude is like fucked up. Like,
he goes from just following to I'm gonna scare the shit out of this guy.
Scare the shit out of this guy, and then you're like, he's getting up on that.
Yeah, I agree, because that's what he gets off on. So yeah, he's awesome.
You don't know me like that. You don't know me like that.
Thank God.
What about you, Riley?
The submission, I think, for me with Jared, and even that whole journey, because he starts off like, denying that part of himself and pretending it doesn't exist, and learning who he is, and delving into submission and what it means to him, and how it like breaks him free of himself in a way that I really loved that part.
Love it. Well, that is all the questions that we have right now. I'm sure. So we're filming this right now before everything is gone out. So we haven't gone dark yet. We haven't done any of the crazy marketing shit that's coming your way.
The incessant teasing.
Yes, we're
the incessant, exhausting, excruciating teasing. Oh.
We want to know if you guys have any questions for us that we can answer. In a few days' time, we're all going to go dark on our social media. Thanks, Taylor Swift, for that awesome idea.
Look what you made us do.
Like, CFM. She came out. We were trying to think of like how we wanted to promote this, and we just thought the best idea was let's just not tell anyone anything, but give them a hint of something is coming, but they don't know what.
Well, especially for all of us, we all are very active on our Facebook accounts in particular. Like, we're very interactive. Everyone, like, it is straight. Like, me and Riley were like, wait.
I don't know if I can do it.
I don't know if I can do it. If you guys see us online, that's supposed to be online when it goes dark.
Yes. This is going to be stressful on all of us. We're popping pills.
So stressful. But at the same time, we all have each other. We're all going to be going to our respective conferences. You guys are going to Denver, right? Or Boulder? Where are you going?
Denver.
And
so
also,
you guys are going to GRL, and we're going to Shameless.
There's going to be, if you're going to either of those two events, there will be some special giveaways and swag to do with all of this at both of them.
Yes.
So make sure you go see us.
to come get your, hang on, make sure to come get your little cards. But we also are going to have, why are you laughing?
I was really wondering what you're about to get out. What is she working
Is she
so
about to
hard
whip out on the
get?
screen?
No one needs to see that, Brooke. No one needs to see that.
Yeah, so make sure to come by our table at Shameless if you're watching this before Shameless happens. If not, gonna suck for you because we're giving away a whole bunch of free Shiver copies, and we're giving away a Gone Rogue pack of Riley's book, Devon's book, our book, some fun stuff. So make sure to do that, and make sure to go to their table at GRL because they will also have the same little gift pack. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Whoever shows their
We're
tennis
basically
stick
making them
their-
give
I
our
was
book
really
away.
wondering where you were taking
Well, yeah,
that.
we're gonna have to figure out.
the parameters are gonna be for that. So you guys just make
We'll have some fun stuff too.
It'd be real
But-
exciting.
You know it will be. Well,
We hope
thank
you guys are
you.
excited about our releases. Make sure to go get Clipped. Check out the loincloth. Make sure to go get Jared's Evolution. Check out the whole cover, because woo! And then
Right.
make sure to check out Shiver, and also check out the back where you can see who he's stalking. Woo!
Woohoo.
And yeah, thanks for being a part of Gone Rogue,
We hope
guys.
you had
It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad
I'm
you
so
got
glad
to
you
do
guys
this.
asked me.
This has been really nice.
It's
Like
been
a
a
big
nice,
love fest.
it's like a big group hug. I'm gonna.
I
I know. I'm like, we can't reach through everyone but Brooke.
Oh,
This is
Riley.
Oh, both of you
David
flicked me
wishes.
off.
We
Fuck
both flicked you off
that.
today.
Fuck that. Like, I
You
don't
know
know
you
y'all.
love us. You love us.
I'm out.
deep down.
I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Going back to the
You
table,
can't
guys.
get up because you're not
I
wearing
was
pants.
just about to say, I
I know.
yeah, I
right?
Everyone has jammy pants on, so we have to hang up before we stand up.
And on that note, we're all going to say goodbye. So, bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.